Hi there. If you're focusing in here to see me today, I'm assuming that you are a foster that is in training, or you might be a current foster that needs a little bit of tune-up on medical records. Either way, I'm very glad you're here, and I hope that this little video I'm making will make medical records not seem as intimidating. Medical records are important for Robin's Nest for a couple reasons. One is you need to remember that when the foster leaves with a kitten or cat, this is the only documentation they're going to have about what's been done with their kitten as far as vaccines go, dewormings, their spay neuters, and everything. So it's really important to keep those accurate so that they have a good place to pick up the care of their kitten or cat. And also you need to know that it's, in most cases, it's the first impression a veterinarian gets of us. So when they're handed our records and they open them up, they're either going to determine whether we know what we're doing or we don't know what we're doing. So it's important to keep the inside accurate, and it's important to keep them crisp and clean without scribbles on them or writing all over them. We just need to make sure that they're good, accurate records and easy to read. So let me walk you through them for a minute. Your medical record on the outside of it has information that will probably already be filled out. It's going to have the name of the kitten or cat. It'll have the description of it and whether it's male or female. That will already have been determined before it gets to you. On the back of the cover of the medical record, it has some important information. On the first section of it, it has a lot of information about Robin's Nest itself. It talks a little bit about how you can help with our organization, and then it kind of goes through the schedule of vaccines. But the meat of the record is obviously going to be the inside of it. So I've blown this up a little bit for you over here so that when I talk about it, hopefully you're able to see it. This is a completed medical record, and I'm going to go through it step by step for you and how it got filled out. When you first get your assignment from us, like I said, there is a lot of it that will already be filled out because we have intake managers and their job is to do the examination of the kitten, and it's also their job to do the initial medical stuff on the kitten or cat. So a lot of this top part is already going to be filled out for you. Okay, so you're probably going to have the name filled out. We will have determined a age on your kitten or cat and have given it a date of birth. And in a lot of cases, it's an estimate, unless it was a kitten born with us and we know the exact date. And it'll have the description of the cat, and it'll also have where we got it. So you can kind of determine where this kitten came from and where it started from. And in this particular case, this was a surrender from somebody, okay? And then we will have done the exam, and so you will also see that there's a couple of these things that will have been filled out. One will be that we gave it Revolution, which is our flea preventative. In this case, we gave it a Drontal, which is our dewormer. And then it probably was given its first vaccine if it's 6 weeks old. In this case, this kitten was 6 weeks old. It was a singleton that came in. And so let's assume that you were given this cat. So where do you pick it up? All right, so what happens from here is that every 2 weeks, our kittens are dewormed with Strongyne. And you're going to find that in your foster kit. And your manager, when she gives you this assignment, is probably going to go over all of that with you. She's going to say, now on this date, you're going to give it Strongyne. On this date, you're going to give it Strongyne. And then also, you're going to come in for a revaccination in 15 to 21 days. So every 15 to 21 days, we give the standard vaccination boosters for kittens. And that's going to go right out until they get spayed, neutered, and end up in someone's home. If it's an adult, they're only going to get 2 vaccines, an initial one and a booster. But we deal a lot with kittens, so in this particular case, we're just going to do kittens. And so your job is going to be just to fill out every time it's given Strongyne, which will be in 2-week intervals, so that it's recorded on here. You will also, every time that you give it Revolution, you are going to record it on there. And if it's in the middle of summer, you want to be really religious about getting that flea preventative on your kittens or cats. And then in this particular case, when the kitten came into you, shortly after, it broke with a little bit of diarrhea, and that is not uncommon because they have a change of environment which causes diarrhea in kittens, and sometimes a change in food. So in this particular case, we were cautious about it, and we went ahead and started on Panazerol. And so we gave it a 3-day course of Panazerol, and this is something that your manager would have determined and given you instructions on. And then you came and got your routine vaccinations. So those were done, and each time you did that, you put the sticker that's on the vial of the vaccine. We do that specifically for the veterinarian because we want him to know what brand of vaccine we gave, and what vaccine we gave and when we gave it. Very important for him to pick up where we're leaving off. And then when this kitten was old enough, it went in to get spay-neutered. At that point, it was 12 weeks old. Anything over 12 weeks old, we can go ahead and give a rabies vaccine to. So you'll see in this area over here, we gave the date of the rabies and how old the kitten was at that time. We also recorded down here that it was spay-neutered, where it was spay-neutered, which was the low-cost spay-neuter clinic in Noblesville, and on what date it was done. Now you'll also notice that down here there's some additional notes. This is important to keep if during the course of your assignment your kitten broke with something, and it's really common for that to happen. So a lot of times when the kittens come in, they'll break with one of two things, either a cold, which is very, very common, or diarrhea. In this case, both happened, so we gave it Panazerol for the diarrhea, and down below you'll notice that it did break with a cold. And so we noticed on this that we put between October 10th and November 11th, it was given Clavamox, and during that time we also put terramycin in its right eye for an inflamed eye. Okay, this kitten recovered nicely and was adopted out. Now what happens? Well, when the adopter takes it to the vet, he can quickly open this up and say, oh, all this stuff was done, and I need to pick up with the vaccine here. Because typically, kittens are vaccinated and boosted every 15 to 21 days until they're 16 weeks old. Now, one other thought I want to let you know is during the course of our getting the kitten spay-neutered and the rabies done, we also have it combo tested. And so up here you will see that it was combo tested at the low-cost spay-neuter clinic. And so all that information is there. Now, on the outside of the jacket, we put on there for our fosters and we even put it in red, save this information because you'll need it, but we find that a lot of fosters will lose it or they will go to the vet without it. And so then the vet is calling us and saying, okay, I need to know what was done with this cat, and that's why we keep copies of all the medical records too. So, let's assume that your cat is now ready to go into Petco. You've gotten everything done, or into one of our other stores that we have. And so we are ready for you to prepare the documents for us to go ahead and put at the stores. So you have completed the inside of all of yours, and you will have gotten some other documents that we need to put in there. The most important document that you're going to put in there is the rabies certificate that looks like this, okay? And it's going to go right inside that jacket. And then this is the proof of spay. And then also you see that big negative on there. The low-cost spay-neuter clinic will stamp it with that when they have done the feline leukemia test, the combo test. And so we want to put that in there, the proof of spay, and that is all for the veterinarian so that he knows exactly who did it and proof that it was done. And then we have a little insert that we put in there. And our insert basically talks a little bit about possible problems that could happen. After they get their kitten home, it could break with a cold or it gets diarrhea, and what they need to do in that case. It also talks about our guarantee, and it gives some recommendations for veterinarians if they don't have any at that time. So it's just important information they need to know. We also talk a little bit about declawing. In our agreement, they are not allowed to declaw a cat. We don't permit it, and we talk about why we don't permit it in this document. So that all goes in there, and it's trifold like that. Now, the record is completely ready except for the copies. Okay, so that if you're putting it in up into a store, what you're going to want to do is you're going to copy the inside of the medical record. You're going to copy the rabies certificate, proof of spay, and the information about the combo test. And then I'll put the whole jacket together with the copies, and those will go into a binder that we have at the stores. When an adopter comes in to adopt, they're going to just get this part only. The copies that we've made come into us so that we can keep those on file in case a vet calls us to see what's been done, or if the adopter has lost the agreement or lost their documents, and we can go ahead and replace them. So I hope that's made it a little bit easier for you. As always, you can talk to any manager. You can call me, your manager that you have for your assignment, with any questions that you have.